Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope you had a wonderful weekend. I started recording this video during the halftime of Leicester versus Liverpool, so you can imagine that I'll miss the start of the second half at least, albeit I will catch up. And of all the games this season, I did actually think to myself it might be the least important considering the unlikely change in their fortunes at the end of the season and the fact that they will have very, if none at all, implications on the rest of the teams. So today we have transfer plans for you and a special edition where I'll be showcasing 4 different free hit drafts and 2 particular variations. We will discuss them in greater length when we get to the transfer plan section, and we will take a look at what is to come, what has come in double Gameweek 33 so far, leading up to the last 3 games of the double. If you have been enjoying the content around here, make sure to subscribe. Equally, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Without anything else needing to be said, let's hop into it. Now, this goalkeeping section won't be as boring as usual because there is a little bit of a story to unfold, and that is Alphonse Areola on the bench, set for a 10-pointer in the 90th minute of his game this game week, and then from a 10-pointer, he falls so quickly by 7 points to a 3-pointer. I thought it was poor defending to even allow Southampton to manufacture the chance in the first place, but the Ugochukwu strike was really good and certainly warranting of a goal. And to be honest, Southampton deserved that goal as well. It was more just the manner in which it got taken away. I saw someone with triple West Ham defence, and that must have been brutal, especially considering the fact that Areola was on 3 bonus and Debo was knocking around there as well. So if you are watching this, my friend, then I hope your fortune turns in the future. It could have been the most perfect start to the bench boost because, given the way the doubles have fallen, there's not exactly too much variation between teams at the moment. Not too much, right? So getting a differential in is quite rare in any case. And then having such a big differential in Areola set up for a 10-pointer as a goalkeeper would have been a wonderful start. But it wasn't meant to be. On the contrary, Raya probably got his easiest 6-pointer in the season. He barely did anything, didn't make a save. I don't think. He actually nearly creeped in for a bonus point, predominantly due to his passing. But yeah, one of the easier 6-pointers. And considering the Arsenal defense isn't actually at that high of an effective ownership, certainly enjoyed getting this clean sheet from that game. I enjoyed a couple of other things a little bit less, and we'll come on to that shortly. Continuing with the theme of the defensive assets getting points, Munoz pops up with 5, Kiwior 6, Gvardiol 6, Konsa 2 with a game to go, and Neco Williams is still to play. Now, Jakub Kiwior was actually on for a 9-pointer, and then Trossard scored, Rice got an assist, Zinchenko got an assist, and he ended up pretty far away from not only that, but also a bonus point. But still, to get a double Arsenal clean sheet at not the highest effective ownership in comparison to what you think, very, very happy with that. Gvardiol just keeps on going. Small gain, given pretty much everyone owns him, but good nonetheless. Likewise with Munoz. And considering there weren't too many clean sheets for those who are bench boosting in terms of their single game week defenders, primarily resultant of Newcastle conceding, or like double Aston Villa defense, then Neco Williams could prove to be a lovely option should he outscore them. And obviously he's got his game tomorrow night, so we'll see how that goes. Not too much to discuss here, right? Because I think the Palace-Bournemouth game was a little bit flat. I think the Everton-City game, Everton didn't create too much either. So like I'd say fairly deserved a clean sheet. Those two, here we are definitely. And then Neco hasn't played. So yeah, a good start to the bench boost side when it comes to the defensive assets. But as we move on to the midfield and forwards, it doesn't paint as pretty a picture. Well, there is only one place to start, and that is with my lowest scorer, who honestly should have had not only his biggest haul of the season, but maybe the biggest first half haul of the season as well. I owned Phil Foden when he went to Ipswich, and at the same end, when that Arsenal were attacking, he put up 2 goals and an assist, which largely contributed to his 19-pointer. I'd say about 3-ish months ago, and I was expecting something similar when I woke up from Bukayo Saka. And you know what? He could have surpassed Phil Foden's 2 goals and 1 assist because he had 2 big chances. He had another shot that just went wide of the post and 2 big chances, right? Ones you would expect him to take every day of the week. He had obviously those chances created, pre-assists, and he ends up on a 1-pointer, right? He misses all of them. Obviously, the challenge from Leif Davis, which I actually don't think will be too big of a deal. Like, if you're going to get a challenge like that, you're always going to have ice on it afterwards. I thought he looked really sharp. He has instances. He only got 55 minutes. I expect him to play against Palace. I'm not really concerned about that. But yeah, on another day, he really is sitting here with 40 instead of 2 on the screen. But it's just not meant to be. And I'll take the moral victory of captaincy after last week. Fabinho I actually was quite impressed with his performance when he strayed into central areas and on the right hand side. One thing I didn't realize about him is his ability to carry, and when he takes these greatest strides, the ability to take contact, ride contact, and keep going, the maintenance of balance, strength, the ability to still go either way when, like, I guess, absorbing contact or in a pressurized situation. And I was actually really impressed by the carries in the middle. So that's something to look out for going forward. He started off the left and played predominantly the game on that side, but in the second half he strayed inside a little bit more. And whenever he did pop up on the right hand side, he just looked so much more threatening. So I'd hope in games going forward he can, play on the right for myself, just because I think it's more likely for him to get attacking returns. In terms of the likelihood of him actually getting points in that game, there was one shot which Marmoush set up. On another day, he hits slightly sweeter, goes into the bottom corner. I thought it was a good idea to go the other side of Jordan Pickford and go across him. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be. And considering he matched De Bruyne, I don't really have too many complaints. My player of the season, maybe, Morgan Rogers, just keeps on going, puts up a 6-pointer. Should have scored, really should have scored, and it should have been more, but I can't really complain when he keeps on ticking on, right? And away at the Etihad, wouldn't be surprised if he gets himself some more. So I think Palace at the moment and his returns at the moment can be summed up by that picture. As some of you may have seen on X, it just doesn't going his way. And as I tweeted out, and as I said in the introduction of this video, I'm recording during halftime, or at least I started recording during halftime. And as such, I saw Mohamed Salah's first half and saw how he was points dodging, similar to Bukayo Saka. So yeah, it seems like they're having a little contest between themselves. And currently, they're both doing very, very well. We'll move on to the forwards, a quick discussion, and then we'll go through a few free hit drafts. Right at the start of the week, when I was thinking about who to captain, and it was a very difficult choice, I was thinking about potentially going for Mateta, and the idea lasted about maybe 10 minutes before I snapped out of it. I'm quite happy I didn't, because it certainly wouldn't have been a justified choice based off Palace's overall performance, and it didn't help the fact that they went down to 10 men, right? So nonetheless, didn't exactly have a bucket load compared to Saka. Isak as well, he barely had anything in the game. So you know what? Maybe I should have sold him for a hit to Watkins, but I guess it's easier to say that in hindsight, considering all the expected minutes concerns, right? Marmoush is interesting because I was surprised on the timeline that more people weren't complaining about the fact that they don't have returns. Yeah, City didn't create too much, and yeah, it wasn't the best game for him on paper. But one thing we did discuss in the analysis is how he, whilst certainly having a profile which is not suitable to what Everton proposed to Manchester City, still has the ability to generate returns in these type of games just because of his quality. And he had chances, Pickford made a really good save of him. He had a couple snapshots as well. There was one late in the second half where he kind of let it come across him in the box, and on another day he puts that away. So while Saka captains, I think, certainly had a moral victory, Marmoush captains, honestly, I'm surprised he playing a little bit more. I didn't feel a little bit unlucky because he honestly on another day walks away with a goal and 3 bonus, or maybe even 2 returns. So yeah, I was actually not pleasantly surprised, because I guess I spoke about it, but I was appreciative of his performance, because whilst he was given very little to feed off, certainly didn't have optimal conditions, he still managed to generate situations whereby he was close to returning. And he honestly should have, I think maybe even that second chance in the box that I spoke about, he should have taken. And the one where Pickford made that really good save, probably should have taken that as well. Yeah, that is a roundup of the team. We started at 107k. We're still at 107k. It'll probably go up, given I'm on a bench boost and Neco Williams is still to play. So we'll see where we end up. And now we can go into free hit 34. Congratulations if you had a great game week. Now, when I recorded my content for free hit 29, one thing that was present was a certain level of excitement and confidence in my selections and in the player pool in general for that particular game week. However, this particular free hit and this particular game week, that is rather the opposite. I don't really like the player pool that much. There are not many players that stand out to me. There's not many fixtures, if any at all, apart from maybe Newcastle, where I look at and I think, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. Aside from that, even Wolves at home to Leicester, I'm not exactly super bullish on them. And as such, you will see a slightly more conservative, not approach, but level of conviction, as opposed to maybe what you're used to on this channel, or especially when it's come to building free hit drafts in the past. Because at the moment, I just don't like much. So what I'll do between now and everything you need is there'll be analysis done, I'll look at things, and we will go from there. But this is just very much a first glance to get you thinking. And the other thing is what you will notice, because I don't like a lot of it, there's a lot of overlap between the drafts. There are 2 slides to the free hit 34 section in transfer plans. The first is with triple Wolves, the second is with double Wolves, because I think outside of Newcastle, they're probably the second best team to target. But like I said, my conviction level is not at 100% where I'm guaranteed to have triple Wolves. So I built a draft with 3 Wolves and 2 Wolves because they'll largely determine the rest, right? I'll build around them as opposed to accommodating them. On the left, you will see triple Newcastle attack. I fancy them to score a lot of goals against Ipswich, but like I said, I don't like too many of the defenders. And I think Tino Livramento could sneak in with an attacking return. And I think we may see the reintegration, like the proper reintegration of Anthony Gordon for this game. It just seems like a good one to do it, right? Especially because you're probably going to need him towards the end of the season. Tough games, even whether it be some bench appearances, just want that weapon available to yourself. So I quite like Murphy, Livramento, Isak, and the fact that like Livramento plays on the left and Murphy plays on the right. I kind of like that just to get the crossing dynamic and see if I can get a hit like that. For example, like Livramento crosses in and Murphy gets on the end of it. I can see that happening. For example, the goal at Leicester, right? Whereas Livramento is not the type of fullback similar to Lewis Hall, where I think Lewis Hall's a little bit more associative in nature in that final third and just better in the pockets where he could link with Gordon and maybe get an assist. So I'm going Livramento, Murphy, Isak. That is my preferred 3 at the moment, but I'm not opposed to triple Newcastle attack. Cunha, Strand, Larson, and Knight Nori, who I'm building around, kind of pick themselves the most attacking Wolves defender with the highest ceiling, the number 9, and then Cunha. Like a lot of sense, right? So no need to go into too much discussion there. I'll discuss more on everything you need why. At the moment, I'm not like super bullish on it. I think they could do well. They could do really well. I'm just not super bullish on it. And then from there, it's, I wouldn't say too much harder for the next 2 spots, right? Because I think they are, well, subjective. I'm a bit more comfortable with those 2. One, Ryan Sessegnon, because he's away at Southampton, and I don't think it's as easy as it'll be made out to be. Like, these guys create chances, they score goals. I don't think too many teams have kept a clean sheet against them. They'll have a certain level of freedom because they're not really playing for anything but pride. And I think when you do that, you can just play a bit more freedom. And who knows, they might score at least once, right? So that'll wipe out clean sheet potential. The big thing with him is he's an out of position defender. He can get an attacking return. So really, the clean sheets are kind of just a bonus, and you're just hoping for him to score or get an assist. Bowen is one who is an ever-present in all 4 drafts. And I really do think, come the deadline, he will be in my side because I fancy Brighton are a little bit there for the taking at the moment. Things aren't going so well. I think stylistically, it's a good matchup for him. And he's also just Jared Bowen. I think the guy is just so good as an FPL asset. When you give him a good matchup, you can kind of bet he'll at least have a good chance of returning within the actual game. So that's that. And then the differences between the 2 sides, aside from what I've spoken about, are 1, Alisson versus Kepa. Alisson and Kepa are there because I think both of them have high enough ceilings. Buzz will create enough chances, whereby if Alisson is to keep a clean sheet, undoubtedly will get save points. And Liverpool concede enough chances, I think, especially against this Spurs side, whereby there's a good ceiling there very realistically. Kepa is interesting because whilst I think United will make a decent amount of chances, they certainly have a finishing deficiency. And even when they are in good positions, like just they are players in terms of playing the final pass, whether it be Garnacho, it's been better as of late, but maybe in terms of the final action, nowhere as good as you would have liked. Hoyland, for example, had an opportunity today to slip someone in and he didn't. For that reason, I could see Kepa accumulating a fair few saves through their finishing deficiency and then keeping a clean sheet through the fact that they're not anywhere near as clinical in the final third as you would like them to be. Right, so those are the goalkeepers. And then the last person to really discuss on the slide is Marc Cucurella. He's there because he's Chelsea's most attacking defender. And Everton, whilst certainly a good side, I think still have more so like personnel issues when it comes to their attack. Personally, I would change a couple of things, maybe just one thing. I would basically just like to see Alcaraz, Njai, Beto, Decore all get minutes together from the off if they wanted to score maybe a few more goals. But I don't think that's going to happen. And as such, I think maybe Cucurella's got a decent chance of a clean sheet, predominantly because we just had a huge win against Fulham. And maybe now we'll just ride a bit of momentum until the end of the season, get over a rocky patch and go from there. And obviously, he's got the upside that I've spoken about. So that is the first set of drafts. Now we'll move on to the second one. But like I said, I look at it and I'm not exactly excited in the slightest. Oh, Luis Diaz is just there because good matchup. That game always has goals, and he just looks sharp and is in good form at the moment. So, yeah, there wasn't really many others to pick. I know quite a lot of people like Brian Mbeumo. Away at Forest, not sure if I want to go there. Understand it, though, especially off the back of his 18-pointer. And then the bigger mission, I guess, is Cole Palmer. He's in one of the teams in the next slide, so we shall speak about him there. Now, you will see in place of Matthias Cunha, there are two different strikers. It could have been Cunha or Strand Larsen that left the side. At the moment, I think if I had to go on, I might actually prefer Strand Larsen. But, of course, subjects change, and maybe they both just end up there. In the first one, I've gone Raul Jimenez. Muniz is injured, so good expected minutes for a striker away at Southampton. Fulham will be pushing, I feel like, for a Europa League spot. And as such, it just kind of made sense. The other one is Chris Wood, because I don't think Brentford are that good defensively. At home, they're chasing Champions League. It's everything on the line for them. He's been one of the best players, or at least best strikers this season. Again, makes sense there. Everyone else I've spoken about in the midfield, apart from Cole Palmer, he's there as more of a appeal to history type of pick. But from what I've seen from Chelsea recently, from what I've seen from him recently, from what I've seen from Everton recently, and the fact this is an early kickoff, and honestly, like, I think there genuinely is some science to the fact that like people just don't perform as well in it. I know for a fact that like players don't really like time as well, just in general. I don't think I'm going to go there, and I honestly don't even think like it's particularly easy to justify the fact that he's in the best 11, or even maybe even in like best 13 or 14. So yeah, not exactly overly keen there, but more of an appeal to history pick. And then in terms of the defense, he's spoken about every single person apart from Bernd Leno. Again, I feel like with him, he's got a good ceiling this week because Southampton will create have enough shots whereby he'll have to make saves to keep that clean sheet. And that was certainly like a driving force behind this pick, as well as the clean sheet probability as well, right? And yeah, like I said, there's not too many players I like, hence there's not too many variations. I'll look into it in more depth when like throughout the week, by the time I'm producing content, and maybe I'll find a different angle and I'll be inspired in a different way. I would love to hear like optimal free hit drafts in your opinion. And of course, I'll touch on things which aren't related to free hit as well. But let me know your optimal 11 in the comments. I'll have a look through literally every single one of them. And then, maybe you'll give me some good ideas. And if you want certain players discussed, whoever that may be, however abstract it may be, I will happily do so. Even if you're like the only person on the planet I want a certain player discussed, given the nature of the week, I'm more than happy to do it. So yeah, let me know in the comments and we can go from there. And that is all she wrote for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. I shall see you on Wednesday for everything you need. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like on it. And equally, if you're one of the thousands of people around here who watch regularly, or if you're a new viewer, make sure to subscribe as we push for 8,000 subscribers. I wish you a wonderful few days. I was going to say weekend, but it's no longer the weekend. Happy Easter, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.